which of course kind of made her feel like confused. I'm not really sure, are we done or are we not? There's a lot of emotion that happens. And that was just a manipulation, and she figured out when she found out that she was in default on the divorce that him coming back and sleeping with her periodically was manipulating her. So we go in and get a settlement for her. Now there's some things that I think about now, like the judge said, do you want your maiden name back? And she said, I don't even know what my name is anymore. That was a red flag. We said, well, what's going to be next for you? We need an address so that we can contact you. She's like, I don't even know where I'll be. So I remember watching her walk away while he ordered an Uber for her to take her home. And the next day she called. And she said, thank you so much. And the call went on for about an hour. And I thought, well, that's good. Sounds like she's in a good space. She hung up the phone, she went in her bathroom, and she killed herself. So we waited at the office all day for her. Now the difference was that there was no one there for her. She was in the house by herself, and I can't imagine how that house must have collapsed upon her. This is their marital home, where they were once happy. And he's now reduced it to her prison because he's turned everything off. There's no money in the account, so I can't imagine the helplessness that she must have felt. And I remember that Wednesday feeling such a sense of victory for her, because she went from nothing to something, I thought. And then that day, feeling so proud of her when she called to say thank you, thinking now she's ready to start the next chapter of her life. And then waiting there all day Thursday for her to come in and sign the paperwork and get her check. And finding out Friday morning that they found her in the bathroom. Now this is what's interesting about the call when they found her. There was all this wailing and screaming in the background. That was the family that was not there for her. There was all this wailing and screaming in the background. I'm like, who is that? It was her family. These are her friends. Well, all those flowers you're giving her now, all that yelling and screaming and wailing, she can't smell them. She's gone. Where were you? Now, the tough part about that story is that Wednesday, I was excited. I took a victory lap. I took the kids to Dave & Buster's. I was excited. But I wasn't in tune to her. When she said, I don't even know what my name is, that was a red flag. I probably should have followed up on that. When she said, I can't give you an address, I don't even know where I'll be, I probably should have followed up on that. I swiped the phone. I thought, the day is done. I probably should have followed up on that. So you have that friend that's inconsolable. They can't get their head around something that's going on in their life. Too many emails, too many calls, blowing up my voicemail, blowing up my text message. Take the call. Answer the email. None of us will ever know if we had tuned into her on the day before, how there might have been a different outcome the next day.
Thank goodness I have to follow that. I'm going to close with a call to action. As many of you have felt, I'm sure, over the last year, a sense of disconnect. A struggle with all the bad in the world, with all the bad in our country, with all the bad in our community. And I was thinking about what to say, what kind of call to action I could make. And I found this, and I'm going to mess up her last name, Melissa Lucier. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Nobody knows. You know her. Yes, okay, it's right. Just this beautiful mermaid, hair, purple, blue, green, gorgeous. Anyway, she posted this on her Facebook around the first of the month. and I haven't been able to get it out of my head. And if you will just bear with me as I read this, and it's going to help because then I might not cry too. But this is your call to action. And I just want to say that I think that there are many more stories to be told. And I know that Jen put one up of her thoughts, and I put mine. And if there's any more as you leave and you'd like to leave them in the store, we'd love to have you put your thoughts, negative or positive. Why don't you hear? It's Laura? Yeah. The teacher has her cell phone on. So this is by Rachel Macy Stafford, and she has a blog called Hands Free Mama. And this is entitled, Am I Invisible? The Pain Relieving Response to Being Rejected or Excluded. My 11-year-old daughter started a new extracurricular activity a few weeks ago. We're still learning the ropes and aren't quite sure how things run. On the first day, we walked up to two women who were waiting with their children for the new activity to start, and I asked them a question about protocol and explained we were new. I was met with annoyed facial expressions and curt answers. Following that response with an introduction seemed inappropriate, so I turned to their children and introduced myself and my daughter to them. We talked with the children until the class began. The following week, I saw the women again in the waiting area. Hello, I said warmly. How are you both today? I received mumbled replies, and they immediately turned back to each other and continued talking. My daughter and I talked to each other, which relieved the painful sense of feeling invisible. Last week, as my daughter and I walked up to the activity, I saw the women in their usual spot. I felt a twinge of something I couldn't explain in my stomach. It was not a pleasant feeling, perhaps anxiety, embarrassment, awkwardness. Whatever it was, that feeling made me feel like not trying anymore. I stopped my daughter several feet away from the waiting area and suggested we watch what the games were that were going on. That is when the best possible result that could happen from this experience occurred. I said, remember this. Remember this when you are in familiar territory and someone new walks up looking for guidance. Remember this when you see someone on the outskirts anxiously holding their own hand. Remember this when someone approaches you and asks a question. See the bravery behind those words. Remember this when you see someone stop trying. Perhaps he's been rejected one too many times. Remember this when you see someone being excluded or alienated. Just one friendly person can relieve the painful sense of feeling invisible. Remember, the deepest desire of the human heart is to belong and to be welcomed, to know you are seen and worthy of kindness. This week, as Avery and I drove to our extracurricular activity, I felt a new feeling when I saw these women. As odd as it may sound, it was gratitude. I feel grateful they reminded me of one of life's great lessons. Author Carrie Kapkes beautifully described the concept of using people's hurtful actions as opportunities for self-growth. She writes, regardless of how anyone treats you, you stand to benefit. While someone teach you who you want to be, others teach you who you don't want to be. And it's the last people who teach you who you don't want to be that provide some of the most lasting and memorable lessons on social graces, human dignity, and the importance of acting with integrity. I was a teacher for 13 years and my hands are shaking. Can you believe that? I taught in middle school.
We love you.
The unkind treatment I received became a means to gain awareness, compassion, and connection. When I shared my story of rejection on my Facebook page earlier this week, there were hundreds of comments and private messages, some quite painful, confirming the need to belong is unmet for many people. In addition to those who shared their painful stories of exclusion, there were many people who shared helpful actions and roles they had taken to be an includer and make others feel welcome. I was quickly reminded of a specific need our family had when we moved to a new state 3 years ago. On one of our first trips to the grocery store, we passed the daughter's new school. After a long pause, she said, I hope I'm not the only new kid in my class. I hope there's just one other new person. Just one. And that had been my solitary prayer for the months leading up to the move. Just one friend. Just one kind friend for each of my girls. One person who can instantly make you feel unalone, uninvisible, like you belong. A few weeks later, my daughter met a girl in the neighborhood pool. They were in the same class, going to the same grade, same school. This will be my first year, the girl said. Maybe we'll be in the same class. That's when I saw the unmistakable look of relief on my daughter's face. One person can do that. One person can take away months of angst in an instant. That same week, I had to take my car to the emission station. It was a requirement in my new state. I'm guessing that's California. The woman working there asked me for my new ID and registration. No, I confessed, the task is so daunting for me because I feel directionally challenged. I laughed, but not really joking. Get a piece of paper, she said. I'll give you the directions to the place to go. It's easy to get there. There's never a line. The woman proceeded to list off exactly the documents I would need. They don't mention all this on the website, she added. I looked down at the little note that revealed the in and outs of an intimidating task, and I felt like I might cry. I could feel the goofiest smile on my face as the cars backed up behind us. It was no matter to the woman. She wanted to make sure I had what I needed, and because of her, I was less scared to tackle the task. My angst was cut in half instantly. One person can do that. I know this. I absolutely know this, but how often I forget. Life gets busy. Things get familiar. I get caught up in my own problems. I nearly forgot when I have the power to do what I have the power to do until one Tuesday afternoon when I take my daughter to the activity, and I am reminded. I approach two women hoping for kindness, and I am met with rudeness. And when it happens a second time, I start to feel bitter. So I ask myself, how can I turn this into goodness, into love? And that's when the words, remember this, come out of my mouth. I passed on the critical reminder to others, not expecting to be flooded with the pain and wisdom of hundreds who stood where I stood. One of the most powerful responses came from this beautiful writer named Alexandra Rosas. She wrote, "You don't know when you wrote that, but you were to be in my life today after I received the coldest shoulder as I greeted a group of women. I came home to you. You halved my pain and I halved yours. It's together for each other we find strength to ask, to learn, and not to fold up and disappear. It's together for each other we find the strength to ask, to learn, and to never fold up and disappear. If that's not life's highest lesson, I don't know what is." So let me remember it now, especially now when the world's collective pain is so deep, so wide, so heavy. There is hope. Because what we can do individually is heal the world's collective pain, and that's miraculous. We can have the pain by being one person's person. With one invitation, we can take someone from outsider to insider, from outcast to beloved member, from unknown neighbor to coffee companion, from wallflower to life of the party, from shortened life expectancy to 80 years of joy. That last line is no exaggeration. Dr. Dean Ornish, the founder of medicine.
You got it, Mom! Come on, you got it!
Lisa haven't said penis or vagina once in my life. If you all came late, you missed some good shit.
A lot of vagina talk.
Anyway, back to the doctor. He says this about the effects of loneliness. I am not aware of any other factor, not diet, not smoking, not exercise, not stress, not genetics, not drugs, not surgery, that has a greater impact on our incidence of illness and change of premature death. Loneliness. Never underestimate the power that you hold as one person to change the life of another. Come join us, he'll say with a smile, and the recipient will sigh with relief, angst gone instantly, a world of pain cut in half, because one person can do that. Thank you. So I can think of a million more people that I would love to hear from, but a few lucky souls have signed up to take the mic. And now I can have some more wine. And you've noticed that some of my drunken friends have arrived from parties elsewhere. We're going to just take like a minute for me to go. I think Leslie's going to speak first, having been the super student and got her name on first. Take a minute, go see Josh at the bar. And we're going to stay open until y'all want to leave. Feel free to go whenever you'd like, but Leslie's got her time and her voice. So welcome, Leslie Lynn.
Ride up on your scooter!
I'm not sure I'm the person to do this now. Paul.
Would someone mind videotaping?
Is that me? Yeah. Oh, I asked if you were
Dropping money.